Hey, what's up YouTube? Back with another video today, and today we're going to be talking about what's going on in the stock market and some of the things that are happening right now. We're got this like massive swing of going completely down into coming back up slightly higher than we were before, and what a whirlwind of a day. A lot of people are like panicking. I think there's a lot of volatility going on, and I think we still are in for maybe even a whirlwind of a week next week. We'll see if this continues into what we would call the bear market, which is good for investors if you're looking for really good buying opportunities in the next 20 years. But I don't think we've got a situation that's quite like that. Everything just keeps getting propped up and propped up and propped up. Eventually, we're going to end up with a situation where things are all going to come crashing down and everything's going to be absolutely horrible. But I don't think we're quite to that point yet. We're still at this point where we're just kind of like, here's the roof, let's just raise it a little bit more. And I think we're going to get a little bit more of a situation where the economy will continue to go the direction it's going. The corporate tax cuts was a huge bill that got passed that allowed a lot of businesses to make profitable gains. That creates share buybacks, which ends up like shares of current stocks right now, valuations go up. I really don't see a bearish market returning just yet. But you can't deny that the U.S. Economy is definitely taking this kind of turn for the going up and up and up and up and up and up and up, and eventually we're just going to have to hit a point where I think stocks are going to take a brutal beating. Maybe in my lifetime, I think I'm going to finally see the first depression in over 100 years, and that's going to be a really scary thing. So if I was you, and just a financial advice, in the next few years, start developing I think separate entities or separate incomes for your job, because you might end up with a situation where you might get cut from one job, and having a backup job would be really important. So multiple incomes, I think, is really important. So without all that scary news out of the way, I'd like to talk to you guys about some of the stocks that I'm interested in for 2018 part 2. Disney was one of them I was really excited about. The earnings were crazy, obviously, with Star Wars and all the Star Wars products associated with it. You're just going to get a bump in increase in all the amount of money that you can get from that. And that's what happened with Disney. And I saw that one coming a mile away. Unfortunately, what you ended up with was a gigantic kind of pullback at the same time that their earnings went up. And so Disney kind of sits right where it was many years ago. I think you can go back to the beginning of 2017, and Disney's currently kind of where it was during that time. So, but I'm still pretty bullish on Disney. I think it's going to go up, and I think it's going to continue to go up. We've got a lot of movies coming out. We've got a lot of new shows. We've got the subscription-based service. They're merging with Fox, or basically buying out Fox 21st Century. So you just got a lot of things going on for Disney, and having ESPN too as a subscription-based service. I know there's a lot of people that are going to be like, oh yeah, I want to watch football, but I've never had that opportunity to watch football because it's you have to buy cable and it's just really expensive. But now it's for $6 a month, you can watch all the sports you want, and that's a really crazy deal. And I think a lot of people are going to buy into that, and that's going to create a lot of money for Disney. Square. This is an interesting company. I've been seeing this kind of going around in the infrastructure throughout the United States. My dad always said, be aware of what's around you. And I think as an investor, I think that's a really important subject to keep in mind when you're investing. Square is one of those companies that I think if they can start becoming extraordinarily profitable, maybe if they can increase the charge service just a tiny bit, and this company could really, really soar in profits. And it's just one of those companies that has built a infrastructure on the backbone of small businesses, and it creates ease for a lot of people who are trying to start their own business. You basically just swipe your card that's plugged into your phone, and away you go, and that's Square. It's an awesome company. I think it's got a little bit of room to grow, and when I mean a little bit, I mean a lot. And I think it's going to create, with this booming economy that I think could be coming here in the next 2 years, if nothing really detrimental happens, if we can get past this shaky point, Square is going to see great gains, and I wouldn't be surprised if it turns to an $80 a share stock within this year, maybe next year. Allstate. This is one of those value stocks that happened with the dip. Currently, with the economic kind of pullback that ended up happening, Allstate I thought was a really good buy. It's got great earnings. It's got a pretty decent balance sheet, and it's an insurance company. I don't think there's going to be. I think maybe 20 to 30 years down the road, Allstate might be suffering just because we might end up with a situation where automatic cars or autonomous vehicles, there's just not going to be as much wrecks. So without much wrecks, then insurance will probably have to drop, and then you'll see a decrease there. But for right now, I think Allstate's like a really good buy. I think that in the next 5 to 10 years, you're still going to be okay with this company. Apple. I think this is one of those companies that a lot of people are just really scared of because you had the main CEO pass away, and now we have, I think, Tim Cook. Personally, I don't like Apple products, but I don't necessarily think that Apple's not a good company to invest in. They're a huge moneymaker. A lot of people like Apple products. I see it as I'm really bullish on Apple. They have a ton of money too. And I don't know if you saw the new building that they had created, but there's just a lot of brilliant minds in there, and it's going to be, for me, I feel like it's kind of a Google scenario. You're going to end up with some bright people creating great products, and we might not be at this point where, like the iPhone was like crazy amazing, but they definitely come out of the dark every once in a while and come out with like a 1-2 punch, and no one sees it coming, and then all of a sudden Apple soars, and I see that happening in the next 5 to 10 years. Pfizer. This is one of those companies where their price to earnings ratio, I feel like, really came down to like, oh my gosh, you gotta buy me scenarios. Some people have some problems with this company just because of all the drugs that they currently own and how long they've been around for. It's a dividend monster. It's been around for a really long time. They have a decent balance sheet. I don't like how much debt that they have. I wish they had a little bit less. But for a company that's been around for as long as it is, and how much it pays in a dividend, and how much it dropped in earnings, and some of the new technologies that's going to be coming out for the drug industry for this company, I actually see it as a growth potential with a safety buyback. It's just one of those companies that I feel like you could hold on to this stock for a really long time and nothing's really going to bad happen to you. So these were my stock picks for 2018 part 2. I like to have a very diversified portfolio just because I feel like it's a nice safety net to fall back on just in case a stock ends up being just absolutely terrible. You're not putting all your money into one basket. And that's my video for today. I hope you like it. Like if you like this video, dislike if you dislike the video, and if you really like the video, please subscribe, guys. Have a great week, and I hope to see you next Monday.